It's very competitive right now, and everybody's trying to outdo each other. And it's good for them. It's good for the market. Actually, it's good for dentistry because you're going to get the best quality products out there right now. So I would say, keep your eyes and ears open, right? And don't be afraid of, to schedule a demo of any of the products, services, softwares that are out there.
This is Growth in Dentistry, a dental intelligence podcast where we ask the question, what does growth in dentistry look like to you? I'm Katie Polson, a dental hygienist and your host. Welcome to another episode of Growth in Dentistry. I'm Katie Polson and want to say a special hello to our first-time listeners. This is a 30-minute actionable show where we invite key opinion leaders, products, consultants on to talk about problems that we're trying to solve. And today we have a good one, so you don't want to miss out on it. And for our returned listeners, thank you so much. We're so grateful for your listenership, and also for those of you that have rated and reviewed this podcast. It means a lot to us. If Facebook is a place that you like to hang out, please join us there at our dental intelligence community. Come join like-minded data nerds. We come learn from one another and join the discussions on analytics and engagement and automation and how that can improve your practice. If you are not a current customer and you want to be one, we give listeners to our show $50 when they complete a demo by going to get.dentalintel.net/podcast. And that link will also be in our show notes. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce Richard May from Mango Voice. It might be a company that you've heard of before. And if you haven't, you're in for a real treat. Welcome to the show, Richard.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Katie. It's a pleasure to be here with you guys.
Yeah, I told him because I thought he was based out of Utah before, and then we got on Zoom and it's snowing outside my window and it's nice and sunny where he is, and he was like, "Oh, you're not out of Utah?" And he's like, "Yeah, I am. I'm in southern Utah." So if you've not been to Utah before, let me just clue you into the fact that it's like we have two different countries in one state. It feels like it's wild, but I'm jealous of your sunshine behind you on your window.
It's obviously there's a huge tech boom in dental in Utah, and you go to every single show and people always say, "So you guys got the great snow and mountains out there in Utah?" And I say, "Well, yes, we do, but
but you have the good
knows that
good
George is a little different than the rest of Utah,
Yeah.
So I always tell people we're actually closer to Vegas. Our weather is more similar to Vegas weather than it is to Salt Lake area.
But you have beautiful Red Rock and Zion National Park. So
we do, yeah. So Zion National Park is literally in our backyard, and if you like to hike or you like to climb or mountain bike, St. George, Southern Utah is the place for it. But it is also the headquarters of Mango Voice. It's where we are based. I'm coming to you, live from Mango's headquarters in St. George, Utah, and awesome. I am the partner manager for Mango Voice. So I'm the one who goes out and tries to find great partnerships like our partnership that we have with Dental Intel to provide the most superior products for dentists and dental practices out there.
Awesome. Well, tell us a little bit about yourself, Richard. How did you land in this weird, crazy, wacky world of dentistry?
It's a weird, crazy, wacky world, but I love it so far. It's been a ride, and I've been doing this for a year now. But before that, I worked in mental health. I was a counselor for troubled teens, and I spent a lot of my time, working on the relationship dynamics between parents and their children, and trying to help them figure out, why they don't get along and how they can get along, and just some behavioral things and stuff like that. And I did that for 11 years and massive career change, right? So
yeah. Although, you're dealing with them, you also are dealing with dentists and their staff. There really isn't much of a difference.
Well, yeah, the fundamentals are the same, right? The principles really boil down to how to have a healthy relationship, whether it's between parent and child or whether it's between the dentist, the practice owner, and his staff, right? So relationship dynamics are very interesting, and they apply to just about every one of us, because no matter where you go, no matter what you do, you're going to be involved in some sort of a relationship somehow.
Yeah. Well, how did you end up at Mango then, since that's such a big career change? I'm interested.
Yeah. So Great question. The job that I was doing before required a lot of time on the weekends, holidays, things like that. And it just kind of got to that point where my wife said, we need to look for something else. What else is out there? And it became a great lesson to me that, you don't have to just do one thing your whole life. Right. And because I kind of got, after 11 years of doing it, I thought, well, this is who I am too. Right. Like this is just what I do. But you don't have to just do one thing. And she actually introduced me to a recruiter who was working for Mango, and they had this opening here. And, we just interviewed one time, and he said, I think you'd be a great fit for this role here. And I came in and interviewed, met the CEO, Kevin Tallman, and we're both Idaho boys. So, you can laugh or joke about that as much as you want, but we just always seem to be like, oh, we're both from Idaho. So
good stock.
Yeah, let's talk. And just hit it off. And I mean, that's almost just more important than your background is, do you work well with others, right? Or can you communicate? Can you, be in the same room with each other and build rapport? That's almost just that's just as important as your credentials, right? So ever since then, like I said, it's been a year now, and it's been a fun ride, and
awesome.
I've enjoyed every bit of it.
Yeah, well, it's been a pleasure to get to know you as well through our partnership here. And so we're talking in the new year, 2023, new systems for a new year, and I really think that one of those things, especially in the market that we're in currently, I think a lot of people are rethinking the way that they all systems that they use, whether it's software or the way that they do a resin or whatever it is that they're doing in their dental practice. And one of those definitely is phones. And I wanted to have you on for quite a while, and I thought this would be a particularly great time to have you on, because I feel like if there was ever a time to kind of like rethink about changing, like or think about like, is your phone system the best fit for you currently right now? Now would be kind of a good time to do it. It's a very scary thing to think about changing up. I was just a little bit of background. Like, so my dad is a dentist, my brother's a dentist, and we were like practice like really early on in weave. I'm not saying we've got to figure out. Whatever. Like neither here nor there. I don't care. But it was painful, so painful. Just figuring out your phone. So it can be scary, right?
Yeah.
So I'm sure there are like, what advice I guess you have or some tips when it comes to choosing a company to help you with your practices like phone system and messaging?
Yeah, and that it's hard to get over that psychology sometimes, right? Where you're so used to doing one thing a certain way and it's worked right up to this point. But just the way that technology is shifting so quickly, and the opportunity to enhance your practice it's monumental right now in dental specifically, right? So if you're not at least willing to take a look, or like, get a demo or just try it out, then I guess you don't know what you don't know. So you don't know what you're actually missing out on. But other practices are, increasing their revenue, getting more patients, making things easier for the office. So making a more enjoyable workplace because they're willing to just try. It kind of goes back to me doing one job for a decade and just being afraid that, well, what if I fall flat on my face, or what if this doesn't work out? But you have to be willing to kind of get over that fear. Fear is like the worst thing out there, right? So just can't be afraid of change, right? You have to kind of embrace it, because we are in an ever evolving and changing world. So sometimes you just have to get with it, right? So the best advice is just get over the fear and, give a call and like get a demo. Because most times when we get on the phone with practices and they just say, oh, you can do that and you can do that too, and it's only this much money.
Yeah.
They're shocked, but they're like, I don't know why I didn't call sooner. And it's just get out of your comfort zone a little bit, right? Because comfort is like the enemy of progress, right?
Yeah.
When we get comfortable, we get stuck. When we get stuck, we miss out on opportunity, right? And it's not just opportunity for the practice, it's self-growth too, right? Even the office manager getting a better product in the office can just feel better going home at night about the things that they did during the day, or like, oh, I got a new product in the office and it makes my job so much easier. And just something new and exciting is always good to have in the office as well.
Yeah. So one of the things that, and then obviously this is where the goal is to give you some tips here, and whether you use dental intelligence or make on voice, that's neither here nor there. But I do want to know, like, what are some of the, when you say technology is changing, like what are some of those things that you're seeing within your field or within your category of software that are some exciting things that people might not be aware of?
Yeah. No, there's there's some very cool things out there right now. So I mean, just within Mango's platform, the analytics and dental intel is all about analytics, right? So
Mm-hmm.
um, dentists will spend enormous amounts of money on advertising and marketing, and then have no idea like how to track it, or how
Mm-hmm.
what's the ROI on that, or they'll buy a new number and advertise it, and they have no idea of like the marketing on it. So
Yeah.
with products like Mango and similar products like with Dental Intel and other different marketing platforms out there, there's ways to track that. And you know, people will, say things all the time, but data doesn't lie, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's where you can actually make good sound decisions for your practice, is when you have good data,
Yeah.
accurate data. And that's what this technology is doing, which is really exciting.
Yeah.
Being able to look at like a number that you bought for marketing purposes and saying, oh, this is actually how many people called it. Being able to look at those calls and listen to them, have transcriptions on those calls, and saying, oh, here's the keyword searches in those calls. Here's the people that actually, use the word crown, and here's the
Mm-hmm.
actual people who booked, and or here's the people who were just calling in to just call in, or
Mm-hmm.
who's my laziest worker. Sorry for that employee out there who
Mm-hmm.
doesn't answer their extension, right? But
Yeah.
it'll expose your practice very quickly, but that's what you need to be able to make your practice more efficient, right? So
Yeah. And how many
um,
times did a phone call
analytics is
get
huge right
unanswered? Yeah. Oh, I mean, just selfishly from a marketing standpoint, I'm
now.
like
Mm-hmm.
just like full on like giddy over the capabilities. Gone are the days when I would sit and we would buy a phone number and it would come in through caller ID and I would track like that. They did not schedule, or they scheduled, right? Like it's so like automate the stuff that you can automate. And this
Yep.
is definitely one of them that you can automate. That's awesome. And how many of your, I mean, sometimes I think a lot of people are to the point now where they're thinking like, okay, how much does one phone call cost, right? And if it doesn't get answered, what does that mean? And if you
Right.
don't have that analytics behind your phone system, then you're kind of doing a disservice to all of the efforts that you're putting in. So that's awesome.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So one of the things that I wanted to talk about, since it is, 2023, and you have a different perspective being at the company that you are, what is some of your top advice that you would give to practices as they're going into the new year, and planning out for the remainder of their year?
Yeah, I think you got to get out to some of the shows, and you got to get onto some of these forums and Facebook groups and see what people are advertising, and not shy away from it. Um, Obviously for selfish reasons, because we're in those spaces, right? So we're going to be
Mm-hmm.
advertising, you're going to see the feature sets that we're going to be having in 2023, but just for your own benefit, because it's very competitive right now, and everybody's trying to outdo each other, and it's good for them. It's good for the market, actually. It's good for dentistry, because you're going to get the best quality products out there right now. So I would say, keep your eyes and ears open, right? And don't be afraid of, to schedule a demo of any of the products, services, softwares that are out there.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but as far as like specifically in our field, where you're talking voice over IP, right? Where you're talking VoIP, you need to switch to VoIP. Yeah, the I don't know how many times I talk to people who are still on landlines and they're paying for rollover lines, and after that third or fourth call comes in, you're still getting a busy tone, and
Mm-hmm.
it's like, hey, we're not in that age anymore, where you're on an analog phone system or you're
Yeah.
rotary dialing, right? Like you should be able to get every single call that comes in. You shouldn't be missing any of those calls. So you got
Yeah.
to get VoIP, and you got to get a service that has a missed call text notification.
Mm.
This is a feature that I'm surprised that more dentists aren't just chomping at the bit to get, right? So if I call you, if you're the doctor, Katie, and I call you, and you're unable to capture my call, your practice should be able to send me a missed call text notification with a customized message saying, thank you for calling in. We're unavailable to take a call, but click on this link and we'll schedule a time, or dial this number to reach, a secondary office manager at this time. You can customize that message. So you're still getting engagement, because I'm not a dentist, right? So I'm a consumer. And if I'm looking for a dentist in the area, right? And I just go to Google and I search dentist near me, and I call that office and they don't answer right away. What am I going to do? I'm going to go to the next one on Google, right? I'm not going to, but if I get some kind of engagement, I'm going to say, oh, that was easy. Now I just have to text this number back, or I just have to schedule. I click on this link to schedule. And now I'm in. Now you're booked. Now you have a new patient, and you didn't have to lift a finger, right? Your office manager didn't have to lift a finger. The doctor didn't have to move away from his chair. You got a new patient in the chair, and they didn't have to do anything. And we're in such a busy world right now, where office managers are doing more, where your team members are doing more, hygienists are doing more, that you can't afford to miss any calls or to have analytics or metrics on those calls, right?
Yeah, for sure. I love that answer, especially, and I, I'm such a cynic. So like in my back of my mind, I'm like, well, I wish we wouldn't have to be in this day and age, but this is where we are, and you can fight it, and and it can be really hard for you to, capture or retain your patients. And this might not be for everybody, right? Like if you are happy where you are, great. But if you're looking to grow a practice, this is like starting from the basics right here, right? People don't, and and especially like my generation and lower, I'm going to pretend like I'm really young right now. Our attention spans are zero. So like if I get a busy signal, I don't even know what that sounds like anymore. Like, what is that? What is this busy signal? Right. Like if I even have to call you, quite honestly, I'm annoyed. But if I do call you and I have a busy signal, like I'm not coming to your practice, because more than likely your practice is old.
Yeah.
Like,
well, yeah. And to that point, the really successful doctors that are coming out of dental school now, they know about this technology, and they
expect it. Like this is just,
it, right?
Yeah.
And so if you're a doctor who's been in an area for a while, and you think, well, yeah, I mean, I'm maintaining my, my patient base, and it's not changed in a while, and a new doctor moves into your area, he's going to have some technology that's going to have better marketing, have better analytics, better reviews, just different products that will be able to help him capture, new patients, and even like get those patients that you might lose.
Yeah.
So it's even important, not just for new doctors to be getting this, but for doctors who've been practicing for several years and, are well established, to be, up to date on the current technology and what it can do for your practice, and for retaining your current patients, but also capturing new patients.
Yeah. And I love your advice on, being open to looking at new technologies and new things. You and I both have been to plenty of conferences now at this point. And me as a hygienist, I've been to conferences on the other end of that, and like just putting my blinders on, and like, I don't want anybody to talk to me. And you can get jaded really quickly if you go to enough of those. And now that I'm on the other end of it, I'm like, there's so many amazing technologies that like, you just have a conversation with these people. You don't have to buy it, and like, if you're afraid of giving you their email that they'll call you or email you, then tell them to stop. Like it's worth seeing what is available, because you don't have to, you can automate, you can systemize your practice in a way that you probably haven't even thought of. So I love that advice. Such a great advice. Okay. I'm going to ask that last question that I asked to every single person, because it means a lot. Growth means a lot to us at Dental Intelligence, and it means something different to everyone. And I'm interested because you've only been in the business for a year. So what does growth in dentistry mean to you?
Yeah, that's a great question. So growth in dentistry, I think, it's really easy to get caught up on the numbers game and having, more patients, right? But I think it's definitely about, self-improvement too, right? And self-growth, because I look at myself and who I was just a year ago, and I'm not a dentist, but I work in dentistry, and everything I seem to do. My social media feed went from just pictures of my family to pictures of, crown
I'm sorry
replacement.
for all of the graphic teeth things.
Yeah, it's like
My
open up
team says the same
my
thing. They're
social media,
like,
and my
I
wife's
can't.
like, why are there so many pictures of teeth on your social media now? It's like, well, it's
I
the
love
world
it.
I work in now.
Yeah.
but the people I've been able to meet, the places I've been able to travel to, and the knowledge I've been able to gain, I'm like a completely different person than I was just a year ago, and I didn't think that was possible.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So growth in dentistry doesn't just mean, growing your business and growing, your patient base. It also means self-growth, self-improvement, looking and not comparing yourself to other people, but just comparing yourself to the person you were. So you couldn't have asked that question or had this topic at a better time, right? Because everyone talks about the new year and New Year's resolutions and things like that. But I think it's important to just take a look back at where you were maybe 12 months ago, and what were you doing for around the holidays this time, and what did your business look like? What did your family life look like? What did your personal development look like? And just take a little inventory and say, oh wow, a year ago I thought that I was going to be doing this job for the rest of my life, and now, my wife, we purchased a new house, and we are traveling more, and I'm going to these shows and meeting dentists and meeting all these life coaches and entrepreneurs, and I'm in a completely different world than I was just 12 months ago. And so don't be afraid of change, right? Because change is good. Comfort is, that's the enemy, right? Like we talk about this ever-changing world and how easy, we're making things, and automated we're making things. And I think the challenge over the next 5 to 10 years isn't that life is going to be too hard, but that it's going to be too easy, and that it'll become too comfortable for us.
Yeah.
And so we have to fight that urge to just
complacent
log in and watch Netflix and just go home every day and just, chill out and relax. Definitely. I think self-improvement, self-development is vital. And if you really want to grow all those around you, grow yourself first.
I love that. That's great advice. Well, Richard, thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy schedule to join me, and for scheduling again. It was my fault, guys. I totally bailed on him, but I appreciate it.
The weather up there, northern Utah, is unpredictable.
Oh my gosh, it's
it's
ridiculous. Anyway, but I'm so grateful for it. If people want to get a hold of you or get a hold and take a demo of Mango, how do they do that?
Yeah, the easiest way, go to mangovoice.com. Right in our first homepage, you'll see a schedule a call link, so you can schedule a demo and get in touch with one of our sales representatives. And we're very active on social media, so please, go to Mango Voice on Facebook, Mango Voice on Instagram, like us and follow us, all of our content. We're doing a 12 days of Mango.
Yes.
I
wanted to talk to you about this. This is so cool.
Yeah. So
although when this goes live, you might miss it, but anyway, it was so cool.
Yeah.
But they do have some great stuff on social media. And also if you see them at a conference, you'll go get a mango squishy thing, because I love them.
Mangoes, we'll give you shirts. We have all kinds of. We try to bring the fun back into dentistry a little bit.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, thank you so much. You can find their link and also our link to get a demo as well on our show notes. And that's it. Thank you for joining. Thank you to our marketing department for all their work on this podcast. I'm Katie Polson. Keep growing.